Hi guys, today we're going to be learning about three main categories, and this is in the development section. And the first question is trade fair? The second question, what are trading groups, like different types? And thirdly, what is fair trade? And then I'm going to give you a case study. Okay, so firstly, I'm going to be looking at the question, is trade fair? Now, global trade policies do not actually favour the poorest countries, and I've split this down into three reasons, because the highest mark question you'll probably get for a question like this would most likely be about 6 marks, so you can do 3 developed points. The first point, in a nutshell, is that MEDCs can form trading blocks, which makes trade cheaper. However, LEDCs are less able to do this, so trade is not as fair for LEDCs because they are not able to make trading groups and trading associations with other countries. Secondly, LEDCs usually only are able to produce cheaper primary goods. If you look at the southern hemisphere, there's a lot less marketing for produce such as cars or produce such as other mechanical goods. And for example, in Africa, lots of the trade they do is with things such as cocoa or also things like coffee beans. So the problem with this is that it's harder to make profits because usually these goods sell for quite a small profit. Thirdly, if you look at the similarity between LEDCs, you can often see that many of them produce similar goods and then go on to sell similar goods. And this makes trade a bit unfair because it means there's competition to sell these goods to other countries because they're all making the same. And this can lower prices further, and as we've seen up here, this will lower profits overall. So in all, trade is not fair for the poorest countries, and it favours more economically developed countries. The second question we're going to talk through today is the different trading groups, or trading blocks as they're often known as. Now, a trading group is an international agreement whereby regional trade barriers to trade are reduced or eliminated between the participating states. Now, 3 examples of these, you can choose one to remember for maybe a small mark question. I chose NAFTA to remember. Here are some examples. NAFTA, which is the North American Free Trade Agreement, is a trade group between United States of America, Canada and Mexico. The second one we have is the European Union Customs Union, which is for all EU member countries, another trading bloc. And then finally we have Mercosur, which is it's an Argentinian run, but it involves Argentina, Brazil, Venezuela, Uruguay and Paraguay, so it's a Southern American trading group. Finally, we're going to be looking at fair trade. Now, a definition of fair trade is it is an international movement ensuring producers in poorer countries get a fair deal for their produce, encouraging development. And now, the case study for this, I've chosen Ghana, and their produce is going to be cocoa. And now, if we look at some of the things which fair trade can do to this country, we'll hopefully see that it's really beneficial to Ghana. And first of all, they give them a livable wage. Often other companies and associations give a really poor wage, but the country has to accept it because it's their only buyer. However, fair trade will give them a wage they can live on, which provides security in the long term and future. Second of all, they have a minimum guaranteed wage, so however much or little is sold in the actual country where the chocolate or whatever is actually sold in, however successful that selling is, the farmers will always have a minimum guaranteed wage. So this again ensures that they will always have security. Third of all, we have other fair trade programs, and these can teach skills to develop the cocoa business. So they show different ways of farming, and this just encourages development. It means that they actually get more out of their produce themselves. Also, we have the Kuapo Kaku, I think I've said that right. This is an organisation which works closely with fair trade, and it's really good because it's encouraged really big organisations like Cadbury and Ben & Jerry's to turn their products fair trade. So you might have noticed these will have the fair trade symbol on them. And for a very small difference in price, it can do so much for the farmers back in Ghana. And so, yeah, you should now have a good knowledge of is trade fair, the different trading groups, and of course fair trade. Thank you for listening.